Good morning again. Today is February 14th, 2023. My name is Christine Burke. I'm a public utility law judge with the Maryland Public Service Commission. We're here today for hearings in the matters of case number 9501Q, which is captioned the continuing investigation of the electric fuel cost adjustment charges of the Easton Utilities Commission, and also 9502Q, captioned continuing investigation of the gas fuel cost adjustment charges of the Easton Utilities Commission. We're going to begin today's hearing with 9501, and then once we complete the evidentiary part of that hearing, we will move to 9502. So if I could please have appearances of counsel this morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Marta Harding on behalf of Easton.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ryan Chu on behalf of Office of People's Counsel. Also with me is Michael Sammartino.
Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Annette Garofalo on behalf of Commission staff.
Good morning. Ms. Harding, do you have any preliminary matters?
Yes, Your Honor, just one. I have the certificates of publication of today's hearing. I'll note I did file them yesterday in the docket, but I would, if it's okay, I would like to offer the certificates of publication for 9501 as Company Exhibit 1 for admission.
Thank you. Is there any objection?
No objection.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. The certificate of publication filed yesterday for 9501Q by Easton Utilities will be marked and entered into the record as Company's Exhibit 1.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Harding, do you want to call your first witness?
Yes, Your Honor, I'll call Steve Ochi.
Solemnly affirm under the penalties of perjury the statements made in this matter dealing of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your full name.
Stephen James Ochi,
Spell your full name.
Stevenjames Ochse.
Give me your business address, please.
201 North Washington Street, Easton, Maryland, 21601.
Thank you very much. Your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Ochi, do you have in front of you a document entitled Direct Testimony of Steve J. Ochi, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Easton Utilities, dated January 27th, 2023, in case number 9501Q?
I do.
And does that document consist of 6 pages, including the cover page of question and answer testimony, followed by an exhibit containing 6 schedules?
It does.
And was this document prepared by you or under your direct supervision and control?
Yes, it was.
Do you have any changes or corrections to make to this document sitting here today?
I do not.
So if I asked you the same questions contained in this document today, would your answers be the same?
Yes,
And do you adopt this as your sworn direct testimony in this case?
I do.
Thank you. Your Honor, I'd like to offer to be marked as Company Exhibit 2 the direct testimony of Mr. Ochi.
Okay. That will be marked as Exhibit 2. Mr. Shields, do you have any questions for Mr. Ochi?
You mean, I'm sorry, my name is Shu.
Shoo, I'm sorry. I apologize.
No question, Your Honor.
Sorry. Ms. Garofalo?
Staff has no questions.
Thank you. Mr. Ochi, I just have one question regarding page 6 of your testimony. You stated that one of the reasons for the, I believe it was the under-collection, had to do with the sales that were projected lower by approximately 10 million kilowatts. Can you give any reasoning for that?
Your Honor, I just believe that people are trying to be efficient with their usage. Easton has limited growth, but does have some growth in the number of meters that are deployed. So it just, between weather as well as conservation efforts, I believe that's the reason for it. We try and project it as accurately as possible, but it's a projection, and weather and usage by individual customers are going to dictate it.
Has there been an adjustment going forward for the next cycle?
So with respect to this year's ACA, We did use the two most recent years for purposes of doing the projection because the trend has been down, and we thought using the typical 4 years would overstate that a little bit. So we're trying to fine tune it a little bit on the electric side.
Okay, thank you. Any questions in light of my questions?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
No, Your
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ochi.
Thank
Your
you.
Honor, I'm not sure if I actually offered for admission.
Oh,
so
and
just
yes,
if
it
I
will,
could
thank
make
you.
that
And
official.
I think you're correct. I marked for identification. Mr. Ochi's testimony, consisting of 6 pages, will be entered into the record as Company's Exhibit 2.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll call Mr. Hines next.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly affirm under the penalty of perjury the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your full name.
John Edward Hines III,
Spell your
JOHNEDWARD HINES III,
business address.
201 North Washington Street, Easton, Maryland 21601.
Thank you. Your witness.
Thank you. Mr. Hines, do you have in front of you a document entitled Direct Testimony of John Edward Hines III, PE Manager of the Electric Department for Easton Utilities, dated January 26, 2023, in case number 9501Q?
I do.
And does this document consist of, including the cover page, 8 pages of question and answer testimony?
Yes, it does.
And there are no exhibits to your testimony, is that correct?
No, there aren't.
Was this document prepared by you or under your direct supervision and control?
It was prepared by me.
And do you have any changes to make to your testimony today?
I do not.
So if I asked you these questions today, would your answer be as stated in this document?
Yes, they would.
And do you adopt this testimony as your sworn direct testimony in this case?
I do.
Thank you. Your Honor, I would I would offer to be marked at the direct testimony of John Edward Hines III in this case as Company Exhibit Number 3.
So marked. Mr. Shu, do you have any questions?
No questions,
Mr.
Your Honor.
Hines, Ms.
No
Garofalo?
questions, Your Honor.
Okay, I also do not have any questions for Mr. Hines. Thank you.
And I would also just, I think, again, I'd offer it into evidence. I'm not sure if I actually moved to put it in evidence, so.
Okay. And Mr. Hines's testimony, consisting of 8 pages, will be entered into the record as Easton's Exhibit 3.
And that completes Easton's direct case, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. OPC, do you have any witnesses or evidence that you'd like to offer?
OPC has no witnesses or evidence to offer, Your Honor.
Ms. Garofalo?
Yes, Your Honor. Staff would call Kevin Mosier to the stand.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly affirm under the penalties of perjury the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your full name.
Kevin Mosier.
Spell your full name.
Kevin, Kevin, Mosier, Mosier.
Give your business address.
6 St. Paul Street, 16th floor, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202.
Thank you very much. Your witness.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Mosier.
Good morning.
Mr. Mosier, do you have with you a document entitled Direct Testimony and Exhibit of Kevin D. Mosier,
Yes.
dated February 9th?
Yes,
Was that document prepared by you or under your supervision?
it was.
Do you have any changes or corrections that you'd like to make to your testimony today?
No.
If you were asked the same questions today, would your answers be the same as contained in this document?
They would.
And do you adopt this testimony as your sworn testimony in this proceeding?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask that this document be marked for identification as Staff Exhibit 1 and admitted into evidence subject to cross-examination.
Thank you. It will be marked as Staff's Exhibit 1. Ms. Harding, do you have any questions for
I-
Mr. Mosier?
I do not.
Okay. Mr. Shu?
No, I do. No questions from what we see, Your Honor.
And I also do not have any questions. And so I will enter into the record Mr. Mosier's testimony consisting of 3 pages in exhibit as staff's Exhibit 1.
Thank you. And that, Your Honor, staff would also next like to call Mark Riley.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that the penalties of perjury will be taken this matter to bear the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
State your name.
Mark, M-A-R-K, Riley, R-I-E-L-L-Y.
And your business address.
I work at 6 St. Paul Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202.
Thank you very much.
Morning, Mr. Riley. Mr. Riley, do you have with you a document entitled Direct Testimony and Exhibit of Mark Riley?
Yes,
It consists of a cover page, 5 pages of text, an appendix, and 1 exhibit.
yes,
Was this document prepared by you or under your supervision?
yes, it was prepared by me.
And do you have any changes or corrections you'd like to make to your testimony today?
No,
If you were asked the same questions today, would your answers be the same?
yes,
And do you adopt this testimony as your sworn testimony in this proceeding?
yes,
Your Honor, I would ask that this document be marked as Staff Exhibit 2 and admitted into evidence subject to cross-examination.
Okay, will be marked as staff's Exhibit 2. Ms. Harding, do you have any questions for Mr. Riley?
I do not.
Mr. Shu?
No questions.
Okay. I also do not have any questions. Mr. Riley's testimony consisting of 5 pages and 1 attachment will be entered into the record as staff's Exhibit 2.
Thank you, Your Honor. Staff has no additional witnesses.
Okay. We can conclude the matter of case number 9501Q and proceed with 9502Q, which is the gas fuel cost adjustment charges for Easton. Ms. Harding, do you have a preliminary for that case?
I do, Your Honor. Again, I have the certificates of publication, which I filed in the docket yesterday, that I would ask be identified as company exhibit number 1 and admitted into evidence.
Okay, is there any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, those will be marked and entered into the record as Easton's Exhibit 1 in case number 9502Q. Just also for the record to note that my notice originally said the 19th floor hearing room. I appreciate everybody coming down here. We're trying to update some IT sound things upstairs. And so there is a sign for the record upstairs by that hearing room to direct anyone down to the 16th floor hearing room. And so that, I believe I did enter that as Easton's Exhibit 1.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay?
And the company will call Steve Ochi first.
Since this is different, I guess I should go through. That's right. Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm under the penalties of perjury that statements made in this matter can be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
State your full name.
Stephen James Ochi,
Spell your last name.
O-C-H-S-E,
Give me your business address, please.
201 North Washington Street, Easton, Maryland, 21601.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Ochi, do you have in front of you a document dated January 26, 2022, entitled Direct Testimony of Steve J. Ochi, Senior Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of Easton Utilities, in captioned case number 9502Q?
Yes, I do.
And does this document consist of, including the cover page, 6 pages of question and answer testimony and an exhibit consisting of 6 schedules?
Yes, it does.
Was this document prepared by you or under your direct supervision and control?
Yes, it was.
Do you have any corrections or changes to make to this document today?
I do not.
So if I were to ask you the questions contained in this document today, would your answers be the same as are stated in this document?
Yes, they would.
And do you adopt this testimony as your sworn testimony in case 9502Q?
Yes, please.
Thank you. So, Your Honor, at this time, I would ask that Mr. Ochi's direct testimony be marked for identification as Easton Exhibit Number 2 and admitted into evidence.
Okay, it will be marked. Is there any cross-examination by Mr. Shu?
No questions, Your Honor.
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. I do not have questions for Mr. Ochi as either, so that being said, his testimony consisting of 6 pages and Exhibit 1 with Schedules 1 through 6 will be entered into the record as Easton's Exhibit 2. Thank you.
Your Honor, we have one more witness, Tucker Bullock.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm and affirm these perjury statements made in this matter? Truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your full name.
Tucker Graham Bullock.
Spell your first and last name.
Tucker, Tucker, Bullock, Bullock.
Give me your business address, please.
201 North Washington Street, Easton, Maryland, 21601.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Bullock. Do you have in front of you a document dated January 26, 2023, entitled "The Direct Testimony of Tucker G. Bullock, P.E., Manager of the Gas Department of Easton Utilities," in case caption number 9502Q?
I do.
And does this document consist of, including the cover page, 9 pages of question and answer testimony by you?
It does.
And was this document prepared by you or under your direct supervision and control?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or corrections to make to this document today?
No.
So if I were to ask you the questions contained in this document today, would your answers be the same as are stated?
Yes.
Do you adopt this testimony as your sworn testimony in case number 9502Q?
I do.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, I would ask that Mr. Bullock's testimony be marked for identification as Easton Exhibit Number 3 and admitted into evidence.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Shu, are there any questions for Mr. Bullock?
I have no question for him, Your Honor.
Mr. Garofalo?
Staff has no questions.
Thank you. I also do not. Mr. Bullock's testimony will be marked and entered into the record, consisting of 9 pages, as Easton's Exhibit 3. Thank you.
Thank you.
And does that conclude Easton's
It does, Your
case?
Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Shu, any witnesses or testimony?
OPC has no witnesses or testimony, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Garofalo?
Yes, staff would like to call Evan Thomas to the stand.
Thank you.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm and affirm these perjury statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
State your full name.
Evan Thomas,
Spell your first
EVANTHOMAS,
Give me your business address, please.
6 St. Paul Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Morning, Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas, do you have with you 2 documents? One, each labeled direct testimony and exhibits of Evan Thomas, one being a confidential version and the other being a public version.
I do.
Now, were these documents prepared by you or under your supervision?
They were.
And do you have any changes or corrections you would like to make to either of these pieces of testimony?
No.
And if you were asked the same questions today, would your answers be the same?
They would.
Are these documents identical with the exception that the public version has certain phrases redacted and also one data request that's attached to the end,
That's-
redacted.
That's correct, yes.
And do you adopt this testimony, each of which consists of a cover, 7 pages of text, and responses to data request, as your sworn testimony in this proceeding?
I do.
Your Honor, I would ask that the public version of Mr. Thomas's direct testimony be marked for identification as Staff Exhibit 2, and that the confidential version be marked as Staff Exhibit 2C.
Was there already a Staff Exhibit 1 in 9502?
I apologize.
Okay,
I ask that they be marked as Staff Exhibit 1
and
and
1C.
1C.
It'll be marked. Ms. Harding, any questions for
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Shu?
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. I also do not have any questions. Mr. Thomas, thank you very much. Your testimony will be both 7 pages, Exhibit 1 through 6. The public and confidential versions will be marked and entered into the record. The public version will be Staff's Exhibit 1, and the confidential version will be Staff's Exhibit 1C.
Thank you, Your Honor. Staff would next like to call Mark Riley to the stand.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm under the penalties of perjury the statements you make in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you full name.
Mark, M-A-R-K, Riley, R-I-E-L-L-Y.
Give me a business address.
I work at 6 St. Paul Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202.
Thank you very much.
Morning, Mr. Riley. Mr. Riley, do you have with you a document entitled Direct Testimony and Exhibit of Mark Riley, consisting of a cover page, 6 pages of text, an appendix, and 1 exhibit?
Yes.
And was this document prepared by you or under your supervision?
Yes.
Do you have any changes or corrections you would like to make to your testimony at this time?
No.
If you were asked the same questions today as contained in this document, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
And do you adopt this testimony as your sworn testimony in this proceeding?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would ask that this document be marked for identification as Staff Exhibit 2 and admitted into evidence subject to cross-examination.
Ms. Harding, do you have any questions for
No.
Mr. Riley? Mr. Shu?
No questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. I also have no questions for Mr. Riley. His testimony consisting of 6 pages, Appendix A and Exhibit 1 will be marked and entered into the record of Staff's Exhibit 2.
Your Honor, that concludes staff's
Staff's.
case.
Thank you. There will be a proposed order out shortly in both matters. I appreciate everyone's participation and attendance today, and look forward to seeing you all again soon. Thank you. We can go off the record.
We're off the
Thank you.
record, Your
Thank you.
Honor.
Your Honors, thank you for accommodating my tardiness. I apologize for that, but just wanted to.
I know that some have been virtual and some have
Yeah,
been in
I-
person, so,
I
yeah.
have no good excuse. but
Okay.
I-
I double-checked the notice, and it did say in person, but
I
it did say
appreciate that.
19th floor.
That makes me
Okay.
feel a little better, but
We now know, though, that Ms. Harding can really be
Fly.
quick.
yeah, well,
when
I
she
tried
needs
that.
to be.
Getting a ticket would have made it much worse.